Alrighty, hello there. My name is Dylan Coffey. I am the president of Best Foot Bicycle Company, and this is a report to the executive board of corporate headquarters outlining our performance over the last 2 years. So let's begin. To start off, we will review the financial and market performance during the second year. Starting out, our total revenue was $4,809,470. Of that, the gross profit was $2,840,667. At the end of year two, our operating profit came out to $393,741. So that was pretty important. That actually was the first quarter that we ended with a positive operating profit and weren't losing money. So yeah, for the first 2 years, seeing almost 5 million in total revenue, that's pretty impressive. Right now, we maintain 8% of the market share, as you can see in the chart to the bottom right. And in the chart to the bottom left, you will see our financial performance starting in quarter 5. That is the beginning of the second year. You can see we struggled a little bit through 5, 6, and 7, but got it together, got a grip, and saw a significant improvement in quarter 8. Moving on. Individual market shares. So our work segment, we occupy 15%. The recreation segment, we occupy 11%. And for the mountain bike segment, we occupy 9%. So pretty almost even distribution across the board in the segments that we have brands. Next up, these are the key features for our marketing plan. This is going forward in the next quarters 9 through 13. Just what to expect. As far as brand strategy, we currently have 4 brands. Our utility brand, the Utilicycle. We have the recreation brand, the Caballo. And then we have 2 mountain bikes that we offer. First up, we have the XTR and the Hillhopper. Our main focus has just been offering a range of useful, fun, and well-equipped bicycles. A lot of our brands, they are useful across multiple segments. I did this in order to improve reception from the consumer. You know, I wanted a bike that was practical and could be used for a range of scenarios, basically. And moving forward, I have planned to discontinue the Hillhopper. This decision was made based off the fact that it was my only bicycle that I had not yet seen a profit in. All of my other 3 brands, all were profitable. And to replace the Hillhopper, I plan on introducing either a child or speed bike brand, as those are market segments that we do not yet occupy. So in the future, look for some diversification and some new brands on the horizon. And then last but not least, currently my company's focus is on the recreation and mountain segments, but since we've been kind of struggling to see a profit in the mountain segment, I've decided to switch that to the recreation and utility. Both the Utilicycle and Caballo are my top 2 selling brands. So in the future, I really just want to, invest in those and divert most of my attention and resources to the brands that I see doing good. And yeah, moving on. Pricing strategy. So let's start off with the bottom right, average price. In quarter 5, I was 3rd place. And then by quarter 7, I had the highest average price. And that was when you saw, some struggling going on. So perhaps I was experimenting with a price range that was a little too high and I just was losing some consumers that way. And then in quarter 8, where we saw a significant improvement in revenue and profit, I had lowered the price. And I think that was key in, attracting more people and selling more bikes. So yeah, in quarters 1 through 7, pricing was higher than usual, at least as far as demand. I think I was pricing it too high. In quarter 8, I reduced the price. Quarter 7, the average price was $1,163. In quarter 8, that had dropped down to $1,021. So I think that drop in price was really instrumental. Future endeavors include in implementing more R&D investments. We talked about the puncture-proof slime tires. We bought the tote and the charging pedals for your phone. I think research and development is one way we can really set ourselves apart from the competition, and in doing so, we could increase price while sustaining our demand, not losing customers because we're pricing it too high. A specific example of this is the superior carbon fiber material. This is what the bike is made out of. It's priced around $1,900,000. This is one that I saw a lot of the competition implementing. So I think that moving forward, it would be a really good step to take to purchase that, invest in that almost $2 million, and just that way I can charge more for my bikes and not lose out on any customers. Yeah. And moving forward, the advertising strategy. So basically my plan was invest heavily, spread the word on my company, internet media, social media. Overall, I ended up spending $1,402,896 in year 2. So that actually was my largest expense. If you look to the advertising expenses to the right, you can see that my expenses jumped way up in quarter 5, but kind of tapered off from there. What I did was I ended up not including so many ads in the same magazine. Like, instead of putting 8 ads in Leisure magazine for a recreational bike, you could take a couple out, put them in Biking magazine or New Venture magazine, and that way, even if these aren't the most typical outlets for investing, depending on the brand, you're still getting exposure in a lot of places that maybe other brands aren't looking. So I thought that might be a beneficial way to make sure I'm not missing any of my potential customers. And for the future, continue advertising spending. There's really no way around that, in my opinion. We want people to see our brand. We want people to be familiar with our bikes. And as I mentioned, diversifying in ad placement, that's just important because, you don't want to saturate too much in one particular magazine. So I spread out and just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anyone. For sales channel, I currently occupy 5 stores in Portland, Amsterdam, Tokyo, Bangalore, and Melbourne. I've got 10 employees, and as you can see, the demand per person in sales and service, it increased between quarters 7 and 8. This was because I ended up having to lay off 7 employees. I was taking a look at how to cut costs at the end of quarter 8, and this was something I felt like I was paying too many people and not getting the results that I wanted in return. So I lowered the number of employees. That way I was improving my demand per employee and thus saving money. And yeah. For the future, I plan to enter the Latin American, Middle East, and African market. I currently don't occupy any stores there, but I feel like my utility and mountain bike brands, specifically my mountain bike segment, could really thrive in a market like that. We're talking stores in Johannesburg, South Africa, and Rio de Janeiro. A lot of these more warmer climates where people might be doing a little bit of off-roading or traveling via bicycle. All right, and Next up, we'll just do an assessment of the business strategy and performance in year 2. Some significant events. First and foremost, surpassing $2 million in sales revenue. That's huge. People like our bikes, and I think we're doing what we set out to do in the beginning. Next up is our improved growth rate of demand. As you can see in the graph to the bottom right, this spiked significantly. Our demand increased just phenomenally in Q8. This is exactly what we want to see. Like I said, people like our bikes. We just had to do some minor tweaks, be it, adjusting the price or tweaking ads, whatever it was. Just going to keep doing that moving forward, and hopefully the demand continues to increase. Next up, our Utilicycle and Caballo brands scored the #1 organic search engine result in Q8. So that means we were paying attention to the market, paying attention to what keywords people were searching, and our brand is what they found most times. And then the graph on the bottom left, as you can see, revenue's just been skyrocketing, trending upward since the beginning. This is a clear indication to me that if we just keep on doing what we're doing, like I said, expanding into new markets, I think we could see a lot of continued growth and a lot of continued increasing in revenue. Currently, we have a high potential in the utility and recreation segments. As I said, those were my top 2 searched for bikes. Those were also my top 2 sellers, the Caballo and the Utilicycle. Those are really just knocking it out of the park. Unfortunately, along with that, our mountain segment is rather weak. For having 2 brands in the game right now, to see both of them not doing quite what I want is it's a little discouraging, but I think getting rid of the Hillhopper and maybe taking out some of its key features and reallocating those to the XTR might give it the boost we need. Furthermore, just continuing to tweak the ads until we find something that's right and get it up there with the Caballo and the Utilicycle. Currently, we're seeing a significant increase in revenue. Like I said, we're right where we want to be. We might not be the best seller or the biggest brand, but the money is there and it talks for itself. Another main focus is reducing our debt. We're currently, as far as cumulative net profit, negative $3,200,000. So that might sound like a lot, but we saw in the last quarter that was decreasing. It wasn't increasing in debt. So within the next, 4 quarters, quarters 9 through 13, I definitely think we could see that taken care of. Summary of future preparation. So yeah, my 3 main goals moving forward are just to invest more into research and design. Like I said, that superior frame, the carbon fiber, I think that would be a really good way to be able to justifiably charge more per bicycle. That's definitely something the competition has been paying attention to, and it's been working out for them. Entering the Latin American, Middle East, and African market. I think this would be a great way to gain exposure, gain customers. It's really inevitable as my brand has grown, which it is growing significantly as we saw. It's only right to, just get into that market and improve market share. Yeah. So lessons learned. Basically, I learned 2 main lessons. The first lesson is that there are lessons to be learned in mistakes as well as in the successes. Specifically in quarters 5 through 7, where you saw me struggling a little bit financially. But I paid attention. I didn't just fly through it. I looked at what needed to be done, whether it was the ads or figuring out what to charge for the bike, or figuring out which region preferred what style of bike. It all matters. And that leads into my second point, which is true success cannot be achieved by guessing. And I figured this out obviously after the first few quarters and just seeing all the different functions that go into seeing the brand succeed. Guesswork, there's just no room for it. Sorry about that. You have to study the information and make calculated decisions. That's really all there is to it if you want to succeed. All right, and that's all we've got. Thank you and take care.